Hey everyone, this is Ben Gluns, the CEO of BIMsmith, coming to you live from the frosty Midwest here in the winter Wonderland. Want to congratulate all this year's finalists for their amazing entries into the competition. We had a lot of fun judging and can't wait to show you the ones that we've selected. Thanks again for submitting. Can't wait to see you next year.
Wonderful honorable mention to the Magic Train. Again, the idea of having this train that as you worked with it, it gave you surprises, gifts added as you adjusted the train length along the way, and the attention to detail. So this is something that can be used throughout the year because it is a toy train, it's always in place, but we noticed as we were inspecting under the hood that the detail down to the level of actually having the spikes holding the rail onto the wood to put into place was above and beyond, so great work.
Part of the issue with getting really great parametrics is understanding like a problem so well that you have the least amount of parameters to go execute that. And the Grinch clock basically did that. They solved for time, I think with 2 or 3 different parameters as opposed to like 25 parameters, which we had a couple clocks to judge. And it error correct, like you plug in like it's 3:30 or something, and then the hour hand and the minute hand go to the right spot. And that's really great. But also like the colors, like you could, gum in and change the Grinch block you wanted, but you could also change it from Grinch mode to just not Grinch mode at all completely. So you could potentially set up a Revit file where every single clock is a normal clock. And then when it's like within the 10 days of Christmas, you run a macro and then every clock turns into a Grinch clock, which would be great.
The Santa bot, or of GoBot fame. I'm of a generation where I grew up actually knowing what the GoBots were and their battle with the other transforming entities. But when we actually looked under the hood, not only was this something that brought back nostalgia, but it was very well crafted, but it was also very simple. And I don't mean that the mechanics behind it were simple, but the way that you made it transform was easy to do. You didn't have to spend a lot of time with it, and all the mechanics were working, but out of sight, so you didn't have to get too involved. And again, the fact that it actually jumped up and transformed as it did it, again, brought back a lot of nostalgia for me. And I think it's just a really cool nod to the gifts that we all wanted under the tree back in the day. So well done.
So the Cuckoo Clock, we were particularly impressed by the level of detail in the parts and the gears and the way they all came together. But then when we looked under the hood and saw the way you could control them all parametrically, not only making them interact, seeing the pendulum move, when it gets to a certain time, the clock face popping out and being able to see the inner workings, very impressive from an execution standpoint. But then also from a usability standpoint, definitely a beautiful piece of modeling that you could easily fit into a scene or a rendering at the holidays. So creative, functional, well-crafted, and usable. So very impressive.
We reviewed 12 submissions today. The finalists, Elf on the Shelf by far was, in my opinion, something that embraced parametrics like perfectly. The model is incredibly simple, but it had, all of the right pivot points. You could basically create any elf doing anything in any shape. And then the creator also decided to market his parametrics in quite an interesting way by having these scenes where the elves were getting into, festive trouble. And I think it was just a delight to see something well crafted and then presented in a way that showed that, you respected the subject matter. Elf on the Shelf. I think it rocked. But yeah, parametrics rock.